Viewers, drop a quick comment with your city, and local time always fun to see just how far this story travels. Now picture this. Late afternoon, sun warming Sarah's shoulders as she kneels in her backyard garden. The earthy scent of tomato seedlings and basil wrapping around her like a soft blanket. She's wearing those beat-up gloves she's had since forever. The kind with a tear in the thumb she swears she'll fix one day, though historians still argue whether that day will ever actually come. The neighborhood is quiet, mister. Washington is watering his lawn down the street, and somewhere a radio hums with a Motown classic that's just slightly off-key, probably thanks to somebody's ancient speakers. Sarah's hands, once steady on the trigger of a Delta Force rifle, now cradle tender cucumber vines, guiding them up a trellis like she's setting them on a good path in life. She's traded body armor for sun hats, war zones for raised beds. Even her old neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, can't help but call over the fence, teasing about how those tomatoes better be shared come summer. It's the kind of scene you'd put in a feel-good commercial for gardening tools until the calm fractures. Her phone buzzes with a reminder to pick up Maya, her teenage niece, from school. 15 minutes later, Sarah's pulling up in her faded blue pickup. Maya's sliding into the passenger seat with the typical mix of teenage drama and snack requests. They're joking about dinner spicy chicken stir-fry with fresh snap peas when Maya suddenly stiffens. "Auntie, there's a police car behind us." Sarah checks the rear view. Tactical unit cruiser, hugging too close. She keeps her hands at 10 and 2, her speed exactly at the limit. Lights flash. She signals, pulls over. The driver's side officer Harley taps the window with his flashlight, demanding license and registration like it's already in order, not a request. She asks why she's being stopped. His answer is to lean closer, hand resting on his weapon. Maya starts recording in her lap. Sarah warns she'll be reaching for her license in her back pocket, but Harley barks for her to get out. When she asks again for a reason, he yanks the door open, his voice rising, the threat sharp in the air. The younger officer on the passenger side moves toward Maya. In seconds, the tension snaps, Harley shouting, "Gun," when there is none, the crack of his pistol shattering the quiet. Sarah's body reacts before thought catches up, wrist control, elbow strike, disarm. The gun hits pavement. 2 precise shots from her and Harley's weapon drop both officers to the ground, wounded but alive. "Maya, down," she commands, shielding her niece as the street turns into a scene no gardener should ever have to survive. Sirens growl in the distance as Sarah hustles Maya through the back gate of Mrs. Johnson's yard, weaving them into the alley. They duck into the basement of Reverend Wicks's church, where the old stone walls seem to absorb their breathing. The Reverend, tall and solid as a lighthouse in a storm, brings tea neither of them touches. Maya's wide eyes are fixed on her aunt, the quiet gardener now wearing a face carved from steel. The questions come fast. "Were you really? How did you move like that?" And Sarah finally admits the truth. 20 years in Delta Force, call sign Reaper, missions in places that don't officially exist. Maya's quick with a laptop, already piecing together encrypted files. She's hacked mission dates, locations, and the kind of redacted paragraphs that make you think someone's hiding whole chapters of history. Historians still argue, Sarah says, half to herself, whether what we did saved lives or just shifted the danger somewhere else. But Harley isn't just a bad cop with a grudge. Malcolm, Sarah's old intel contact, digs into his digital trail and finds something uglier. Raids targeting black neighborhoods, conveniently followed by developer buyouts, all under the cover of routine policing. Offshore accounts, Dr. Body Cam footage. Every property flipped for profit while families were forced out. The 3 of them, plus Maya's growing network of young activists, start assembling an evidence package: videos, documents, witness statements. Court proof, even if the court doesn't want to see it. They decide the reveal will happen live at the city council meeting during the mayor's redevelopment pitch: maximum exposure, minimal chance to silence them without an audience watching. The plan is airtight until they realize Harley will be in the room providing security. Enter Officer Roar, the rookie from the traffic stop, who shows up with a clean conscience and recordings of Harley bragging about his payoffs. He's ready to testify. For a moment, it feels like the tide is turning. But protest day arrives early with smoke bombs and chaos. Maya, in the crowd to coordinate live streams, is grabbed by Harley's men, hustled into a van so fast the cameras miss it. Hours later, Sarah gets the video Maya bruised, zip-tied, Harley's voice promising her death unless Sarah comes alone to an abandoned warehouse. No weapons, no backup, 1 hour. Sarah opens the footlocker she hasn't touched in a decade. The smell of gun, oil like a ghost from another life. Reverend Wicks doesn't try to talk her out of it. Some oaths don't expire, he says as she straps on her vest. But remember, this isn't vengeance. It's justice. She nods, slipping her sidearm into place. The garden will have to wait. Tonight, the Reaper is going to war. Rain slicks the warehouse district, each puddle a warped mirror of streetlights and shadow. Sarah moves like smoke between brick walls, Roar's voice in her earpiece, feeding her guard positions and camera loops. 2 sentries outside are sloppy Owens checking his phone, the others humming off-key like he's auditioning for the worst band in history. They're down in seconds, tranquilizer darts, and silence. Inside smells of rust, mildew, and trouble. She glides up a metal stairwell, every step measured. Guards fall in tight, efficient burst pressure points, chokeholds, improvised weapons. A broom handle becomes a staff, a fire extinguisher a flash-in strike. In less than 3 minutes, she's ghosted through 6 men without a single fatal blow. Delta Force discipline. Take them out, but don't become them. She finds Maya in a makeshift cage, bruise on her cheek, but eyes lit with defiance. The lock surrenders under her pigskin, the lights snap out. A spotlight snaps on. Harley steps forward, gun in hand, smirk set to smarmy villain. "You brought fists to a gunfight, Commander," he says. Sarah just tilts her head. "I brought justice." The first shot splits the air. She's already rolling behind crates. A tossed wrench sends Harley spinning toward the noise, and Sarah's on him wrist twist, disarm, solar plexus strike. He fights dirty, catching her with a stun baton that jolts fire through her ribs. She uses the pain, launching off the wall into a roundhouse that cracks his jaw. The fight is brutal and close, ending with an electrical cord looped around Harley's throat, not tight enough to kill, just enough to remind him who's in control. Dragging him to Maya, Sarah lets her knees flip on the body cam feed they'd hidden earlier. "You're live," Sarah tells him. "Say it." And he does, every bribe, every false raid, the whole scheme bleeding out of him while the city watches. 2 weeks later, Harley's gone, the department purged, and the church basement hums with neighbors learning digital security and legal rights. Maya's teaching youth how to film safely. Roar's explaining citizens' rights during stops. The garden behind Sarah's house has doubled in size, tended between rallies and workshops. One afternoon, as she plants tomatoes, her phone rings. Detroit needs help. She looks at the rows of green, the kids laughing next door, and smiles. The garden will wait. There's more growing to do. The wind down comes slow, like rain easing after a long storm. Sarah lets her mind linger on the sound of Maya's voice carrying across the yard, confident and steady, teaching others the tools she once used to survive. She notices the way the soil crumbles under her fingers, how the air smells different after a night of rain cleaner, like the city itself is breathing easier. Somewhere beyond the fence, laughter rolls like warm surf on sand, and the ache in her ribs from that last fight feels almost like an old friend she can finally forgive. She knows the work ahead won't be easy. Weeds always come back, storms always find a way. But with each seed planted and each truth told, the roots grow deeper. And in the soft quiet of late afternoon, she lets herself believe that maybe this time, the harvest will hold.